Thank you for having me on. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, here we are. We are live with one of my absolute favorite people, someone who's made a big difference in my own life in terms of my own health and well-being, and that is Dr. Hadar Elbaz. Welcome back, Dr. Elbaz.
Thank you so much for having me on here. I love your show, so thank you.
Well, it's a great pleasure, and one of the things, of the many things that you've helped me and my family with, I actually have, I don't know if he wants me to share this, but I have Brian on your parasite cleanse right
Oh, I
now.
love that. Good.
he's going through a lot, but he's going to feel good when it's all over.
Great.
But leaving that aside, one of the things I've always loved about you is that you take very seriously the holistic woman, right? And you don't separate out how we feel emotionally from our physical health. You understand, maybe for everybody, but certainly for women, that, you know, there's such a direct connection. The other thing I love about you is that you're highly trained in allopathic Western medicine, but you're also highly trained in alternative modalities, and you're a functional medicine specialist. So I'm just going to call up your beautiful website. It's the Vibrant Glow, and she has so many credentials: DACML.AC, diploma of
Oriental medicine.
Oriental medicine, AP, naturopathy medicine. I'm not going to read her whole bio again because I do, and then, you know, we always feel so overwhelmed with her accomplishments. But she's a triathlete in addition to everything else she does. And so what we're talking about today is she has a product, which is so exciting, because one of the things that and she's not a sponsor, we just love her and trust her judgment. And so we want to support what she's doing, and I can't wait to use it myself. But it's the Vibrant Glow Beautifying Oil, and it's a skincare product. And the reason I am delighted to be talking to her about that, even though it's a little bit off the strict kind of health path, is that health and beauty are so connected. And also because of the many things that we've explored together and that I've explored on my own, the toxic nature or the ineffective, expensive nature of many, many skincare products aimed at women is so big an issue. And it goes back to the beauty myth, which I wrote when I was 26 years old. So let's jump right in. Dr. Hadar, say whatever you want to say about your bio that I might have missed, and then tell us about why you decided to launch a beauty care line, and then go into detail about this particular product.
Sure. Please. Thank you so much, Naomi. I never thought I would actually launch a skincare product, but just a little bit of my background. I went to nursing school, and then I went to acupuncture school and Chinese medicine and functional medicine studies and naturopathic medicine, and just kind of do the whole holistic approach, because I know that treating the person as a whole and not pieces and parts is really key to looking at the root cause and helping a patient properly, and not just giving you a pill, here you go home. You're not going to feel better with that. Mm-hmm. So really looking at the big picture. And I'm a big proponent of, what you put on, in, and around your body can either affect you positively, right, or negatively. It can either feed your disease or really feed your health. And 6 years ago, just a little over that, I was training for an Ironman. I was training for Olympics, triathlons, and I had a terrible bike crash back in San Diego. And I found myself laying in the middle of the road in Solana Beach and hit my head. Thankfully, I had a helmet, but hit my head, my elbow, my leg, everything. Another cyclist crashed into me.
Oh, God.
It was horrible. And I skidded on, and I just did a whole skidding thing on the road, and realized I'm in the middle of the road, make sure there's no cars. And I look up, I look back, and there was a car right behind me. Thankfully they were stopped.
Oh,
I'm so grateful.
You're so lucky. And horrible, but thank God you survived.
Horrible. Right. And I didn't know I tore my shoulder in so many different parts. I had no idea. My leg was completely blood, covered in, a road rash and marks, and my elbow, it was a mess. And I was so angry that I was like, I am going to continue riding. I continued riding. I climbed Torrey Pines, and it's a climb. And then, of course, after the endorphins, I started feeling the pain, and I was bleeding completely. And it was bad. So I went to a friend's house who was close by. He's like, I'm taking you to the ER. And I said, there's no way I'm going to see a medical doctor in the hospital. I will figure this out. He's like, well, what if your knee is broken? What if something is broken? Because it's bleeding, it's bad. I said, nope, I'll figure it out.
Dr. Hadar, if I can just jump in, why did you, in a situation like that, why did you not want to go to a hospital?
Because I could still move my leg barely. I could still move my shoulder barely. I didn't have a concussion, thankfully. And I knew that I had studied essential oils. I had studied functional medicine, Chinese medicine, and I was in nursing school. I kind of knew what I was dealing with, but I wasn't sure yet.
Right.
And I wanted to go home first and try my own remedies first, which
Makes
is what
sense.
I did.
Which makes sense.
So I literally collected all the stuff I had at home and went to the store and got more things and put everything on a counter. And I said, let's do this, put it together. I applied it on. Literally the pain, it helped the pain so much. And I was in a lot of pain. And it helped heal my scars so quickly that I was like, wowed, just wowed. And at the time I was working at a physical therapy clinic, and I was working with chiropractors, and I had all the holistic doctors around me. So I knew I could get natural treatments. So I started treating my shoulder. Apparently I tore it. Like I said, the next day I really couldn't move it. And I was thinking of going for a run.
You tore a tendon, or you tore cartilage?
I tore my labrum. I tore I had a partial bicep tendon tear. I had all kinds of partials and full. And I kept swimming with pain, but I kept training because I have a very, I don't want to say high threshold for pain, but I was determined that nothing is going to stop me from racing the Ironman and the Olympics that I was so eager to do.
I see.
And I kept training, and I went to orthopedic surgeon to check my shoulder. And he's like, well, tear. I know you're not going to do anything. Just take Advil. I said, I'm not going to do that either. Right.
Wow.
So this is how I came about the oil, because it really helped my pain and my scars.
One second before we go to that, because I'm still trying to process this. I literally just came from the orthopedist, and I've been so much better, but it's a allopathic orthopedist, a new practice, and first thing he said was surgery. And I'm like, I'm so much better. I'm walking around. I feel good.
Great.
They just want to rush you into surgery. What would a conventional medicine ER or orthopedist have wanted you to do, or encouraged you to do, or done to you with those tears ordinarily?
Surgery. Exactly. Yeah.
And what's the downside of that in your case? Why did you avoid that?
Scars and scar tissue and longer healing, and maybe I could heal it myself, which I did.
Wow.
So I did. I have full range of motion. I kept swimming. I kept lifting, but very gentle lifting because I was in pain. But
this makes me so mad. Literally, I have a labrum tear, as you know, because you've been helping me. Right. And everything in the allopathic medicine world says nothing heals a labrum tear.
I disagree. I healed my own, and I had labrum tears.
Amazing. Well, tell us what happened. We want to know.
And again, many doctors will say you have to have a surgery, this can't heal. And I say, actually, nope, I disagree. And I always went with my intuition and with natural healing modalities that really saved my life. I also had thyroid issues back in the day. I had nodules, and the doctors were like, well, you need to be on this, you need to take that out. And I said, no, I changed my diet, changed my habits, did everything natural. And, I had really swollen neck. I didn't have a goiter, but I had really, and I was really puffy and swollen. And I literally helped everything, knock on wood, naturally. So I go against a lot of times what they say, if you know how to treat it naturally, which is why I create programs for patients. And now my programs are 3 to 6 months minimum to really help patients from the root cause, to really make sure I'm doing a good job and they're healing the best way, because I know what to do. And so back to the oil. So I created the formula, and I didn't know I was going to, move to Florida and eventually look into skincare. And I knew that if I'm ever doing anything, because I've been using my own skin oils, I've been blending them together for years, and that's all I use. I do not wear makeup. That's all I use on my skin.
Wow.
And I just had to share it with the world.
Right.
So I finally found the right people to connect and the right company to help me. And we've really reformulated the same formula that I had and made it even better.
Right.
And went back and forth with different formulation. And finally I was like, this is it. And it's literally paraben-free, gluten-free, dyes-free, phthalates-free. And phthalates are the toxic added scents that are added to perfumes, right? That's what perfumes are made. That are your chemicals, loaded chemicals in your home, in not just perfumes, but in your detergents, in your candles that are synthetic, right? In your skincare, in your makeup care, in your plugins. They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
And unless you're using non-chemical, no phthalates added, no perfume added, right? No petroleum, no mineral oil, no animal byproducts. This is vegan. This is not tallow. This is vegan.
Okay.
And it smells beautiful and it feels beautiful. And a lot of people who have already purchased it love it. And it's a glass bottle, so it doesn't leach any plastics. And it's 2 ounces, so it's travel size. And literally, it's like the perfect size for travel. It smells amazing, and the oils are incredible. And it's literally argan oil and castor oil and essential oils and vitamin C, vitamin E, rosehip, like different oils together. And that's it. Like just the oils blended with the vitamin C and E and a couple of more things that are just all the most natural, nothing more, nothing less, nothing chemical. So.
Wow. So Dr. Hadar, I'm fascinated because I'm familiar with some of those ingredients, and I know that castor oil, has so much peer-reviewed documentation of penetrating and healing, right, in crazy ways. I know that I didn't know that you could add vitamins topically, but that's really interesting. And then you mentioned,
especially.
Oh, wow. And then you mentioned argan oil, and that's got a long tradition, especially in the Middle East, of being used as a skin and hair care product, right? Natural oil. And I'm just going to chime in and say from my own journey, if people haven't watched my videos about, what got me to wean myself kind of immediately off of conventional skin and hair care products, you have no alcohol in your product.
No, of course not. Absolutely not.
Yeah, you say, of course not, but literally I've been reading labels, and literally everything, even if it's marketed as organic or, based on honey or based on, bee pollen or whatever, it's got 3 kinds, the tail and mane, which is like a cult favorite for people with long hair, 3 kinds of alcohol, 3 different kinds of alcohol, and also in skincare products. And I certainly know that when I'm not traveling and I'm not using commercial skin and hair care products, so I'm not, I'm sorry, when I'm traveling and I forget to bring my own and I have to use even the luxury shampoos and moisturizers in the hotel, I age 10 years and my hair looks terrible. And then when I go back to my own natural things, although I don't have this, I'm going to gift it to you. I'm going to ship you. Thank you very much. I gratefully accept. But so tell us, I'm a little confused about one thing. You said that these were oils that you applied to an injury. Are they the same oils, or is this 2 different things?
Yes. So there are a bunch of essential oils here that I haven't mentioned, but along with the main ingredients, there are a bunch of essential oils that are active ingredients that are beautifying and anti-aging, as well as healing skin and scars and wounds and stretch marks. So I added it together. So yes, this has a beautiful botanicals, as well as the mentioned oils that we've mentioned, the castor and the argan and the E and the C, and essential oils. That's it. And it's hexane free, because a lot of castor oils have hexane, hexane free. Again, all the chemicals free. They've been tested, dermatology tested. We've had it in the lab testing for months. This has taken me 1.5 years in the making, plus formulation the right way, just to make sure everything is done perfectly and right. And trademarked and, dermatology tested
So
and
exciting.
cruelty free. Yeah.
So but you're not saying that this is what penetrated your injuries and helped your
100%.
ligaments and tissues
Yeah.
heal.
Yeah.
You are
This
saying
is
that.
better. Yeah, this is even better. What I did at home before was the main oils, which is why I formulated all the essential oils plus the main two ones, minus the E and the C, which are even better. Actually, no, I
Wow.
had E. So yeah, I had most of them. 99% of the ingredients here was what I applied at home. And the formulation here was redone so beautifully with the right dosages, the right ingredients, the right ratios. And it's magic. It's magic.
So I can't wait to try it, but let me just understand, our audience loves the fact that the people I bring on this show always back up what they claim
Yep.
with real science and real
Sure.
medicine, to the extent that we still have real medicine. So for the real science piece, help me understand if the Cleveland Clinic and the NYU Langone and all the big hospital sites say there's no way to heal a torn labrum, and your surgeon said surgery, but you applied some oils to your wound. How do those oils heal what is a form of cartilage, right? Or a form of a tendon, right? I mean, explain the science behind that, because I don't understand that.
So this was for my wounds mostly, my elbow and my knee. And so I have before and after pictures. This is for mostly my wounds. The labrum tear healed with all the modalities plus my oils, right?
I see.
I'm
So the
not saying
oil,
it
you
healed
believe
my
your
labrum.
oil penetrates? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh, 100%. Yes, definitely. So I use the oils plus infrared heat plus, chiropractic, acupuncture, cupping, laser, whatever I had done to help my shoulder back at the clinic. I had done it multiple times, but mostly what I've done every single day was apply oils on my body. And castor oil is a big one for wounds and for joints and for anything, for tears, for whatever. I'm not saying it's going to heal. I'm not here to tell you that this is going to heal your labrum tear. If anyone, this is not a medical advice in a sense, but I do want to say that this has helped me and actually many others heal and help scars and wounds, which is what I've suffered from at the
That
time.
makes sense.
And this is what I apply on my skin for years and years. So several years now since I've had it formulated. Well, I formulated, this is brand new, but since I've put it together and used it at home, before I officially made it to the public, I've used it at home.
Gotcha. What you're saying also does kind of make sense to me, because if castor oil penetrates, and we know that it does, and it, even if just makes circulation better and reduces inflammation, that creates an environment that's more conducive to healing. Isn't that correct?
Exactly. Your body can heal itself, right? You have to, exactly right, have that environment, that terrain that helps itself heal itself. So if your environment, your terrain is not strong enough, not healthy, and there's a lot of inflammation, no matter what you apply, probably not going to help. But if you do it internally,
right,
you eat properly, you do the right supplements, you sleep properly, you have the right mindset, and you apply topically, right? If we're talking about injuries, sure, it's going to help. When it comes to scars and oil and skin, this can help beautify and do a lot of other things for stretch marks and scars and just anti-aging, which I love. But it's also helped my pain.
Love it. Well, let's be girly now in our remaining 12 minutes.
Sure.
It's, how can I put this? I have this internal resistance, even though I wrote a book called The Beauty Myth. I do have this internal resistance to like talking honestly about, things that make us beautiful and that fight the appearance of aging, because we're conditioned to be ashamed of wanting that or to be exploited by our desire for that, right? But this is why I love having you on and why I love talking about these things in a positive way. We do want to be youthful and attractive for our whole lives and look healthy and feel pretty. I mean, we do, right?
Absolutely.
And one thing I want to note, so I want to talk about scars and I want to talk about stretch marks, because these are so deeply personal to women, and they're especially stretch marks, especially. I'm just going to jump right in to the shame and the silence. Stretch marks tend to happen to young women when they go from like prepubescence and they go through puberty, when their breasts grow, when their hips grow. And that can often be experienced very traumatically by young women because they want to be perfect, and they see these, you know, really scars. They're not pretty stretch marks. I mean, I want to say everything's equally pretty, but most people prefer not to have stretch marks, especially not on their breasts or their thighs, you know, these very kind of sexually important parts of our bodies. And so there's a lot of shame associated with becoming pubescent for women, you know, girls, teenage girls who have stretch marks. And the other time, of course, you tend to get stretch marks is when you're pregnant and after you deliver, or in the process of delivery, or your last trimester. And those are, you know, very upsetting to women who have gotten stretch marks when they were pregnant, because they tend to be on the sides of your actual stomach, and you know, that lovely young woman's abdomen, and you love to show it off in a bikini, you know, you feel like you can never do that again. And so I remember when after I gave birth to my first child, being very concerned about stretch marks, and applying various over-the-counter things that didn't do anything. I mean, thank God they've sort of gone, you know, they tend to go away over time, but especially, I guess, if you, I don't know, work out or whatever, but they're very upsetting. Like, women don't like them. They feel bad about them. They feel they lower your sexual confidence. I've heard this from so many women, and it's the kind of thing women don't like to talk about. So would you pick up from what I just said? Do you hear this from your patients? You know, does this resonate at all with what you hear, and why you formulated this?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, women who are pregnant or have been pregnant or have stretch marks, lose weight, gain weight, this is very helpful. Obviously, castor oil and the other ingredients really help with stretch marks. So, you know, for me, losing weight, gaining weight, whatever the case is, and I apply it, this has made a difference for me. And again, this is new on the market for other women. Quite a few people have purchased it. So I'm really looking forward to hearing the results. But I've seen other women who have used the testers, especially under their eyes, and the lines and the swelling and the difference that it makes right away when you even apply it on. So I'm pretty optimistic about that. And this is great for mothers and great for those who are looking forward to becoming pregnant or are pregnant or want to use it before, during, and after. I think this is really great. And there's, again, no chemicals, so nothing is going to harm, and nothing is leaching plastics, so you're not bombarding your body with microplastics.
Well, I was going to say, not only is it not leaching plastics, but it's not leaching chemicals into your bloodstream, which goes into your milk, which goes into your baby, right?
Exactly. And when you apply something on your skin, it's usually within 20 seconds or less that it gets absorbed into your bloodstreams and your organs, and you're breathing it. So you're getting it from all around. So you really want to be mindful of what you apply on your body, around your body, what you inject, what you ingest, everything. So I absolutely love it. And again, this is what I use every day on my skin. And when you do apply that, again, so it's a dropper, so it's really easy, and it's nice and thick, and you don't have to put too much, but you apply, and I always recommend going in the direction, in an upward direction. Like my grandma used to always say when we were young, and my grandma passed at 96 from Alzheimer's, unfortunately, but she had like flawless skin, as does my mom. Wow. And she always said, make sure you use creams. Back in the day, it was creams, it wasn't oils. Make sure you use it every day, morning and night, and always apply it, you know, upward direction. And so this is what we've done since we were little kids. Always have a cream on. I don't like creams because they dry your skin. Oil will never dry. And this one gets absorbed so quickly, and it does not clog your pores. That's the beauty of that. It does not clog your pores. It gets absorbed, so there's no like residues of that oily face that you see in a lot of people.
That was my next question. It can be gross to put oil on your
my God. I see people who, you know, if you're not sweating enough, if you don't use a sauna or exercise and have enough like sweating, obviously, and you're eating a lot of fried foods, a lot of bad foods that clog your pores, clog your arteries, nevertheless, right? And really create a lot of oil in your pores. I don't recommend you do that. I recommend you cleanse your body, but you definitely want to apply an astringent, right? Clean your face with like witch hazel or tea tree oil or something that cleanses well and astringing your pores so they're not open.
Right.
If that makes sense. And then apply it on. You never want to apply oils on dirty face. Never.
Right.
Always make sure it's clean morning and night.
Thank you for that. That's I slathered my face with vitamin E oil last night, and I came out and Brian looked at me and I'm like, what?
What did you just do? Right.
He said, he's so polite. He's such a gentleman. I said, you don't like the oil all over my face, right? He said, I can't say I love it.
Oh yeah. Well, that's a good man right there. He's not like, oh my gosh, take it off. He's like, gentle. That's
it was gentle, but I blotted quickly. Yeah. But no, it's if you're going to wear this stuff morning and night, it's good to know that it absorbs. Let me ask you this: for women who are pregnant, and I have some young friends who are pregnant or about to give birth, pregnant and about to give birth, is it best to start using it where you are likely to get stretch marks or to avoid them?
Yeah, it's my recommendation. Yes, especially in the lower abdomen. Yep. Especially where the stretch marks will show most. Now, again, depends on the size of the baby. If you have twins or whatever the case is, some people have their muscles torn. So really, I'm not going to say this is your plastic surgery. Right. No, if you have to have that, I am not giving you medical advice and advising you as to pros and cons. I'm just saying this can help, and you got to apply it regularly. It's just a beautifying oil that can really help a lot of things.
Well, but also, doesn't it kind of make sense what you're describing? Because if the skin is, I don't know how to put it, moist and flexible, it's not going to, basically stretch marks are like tears on the top layer of the skin. Isn't that correct?
Exactly. So this will make it more supple and fuller and thicker and just nicer, right? To the touch, to the look, to the feel. Yeah.
And what about, would you do this with it as well?
100%. Always. I always do. I always apply it. So women and men, it's not discriminative of women or men. It's both. You always want to apply it on your neck and the back of the neck, right? And your chest. You can apply it on your chest. I apply it all over my body.
Wow.
So I take that and apply it topically on my chest, my neck, my face, the areas. And then I have my body oil, which I make, and I throw that in there too. And I mix it, and it's like incredible. For my
and
entire
is it best to do that after a bath or shower, or does it not?
Yes, definitely after you clean yourself. Yeah, you don't want to just be dirty and then apply it and then shower. Yeah. Yeah.
So this is a huge leap. You've gone from being a functional medicine specialist with your own private practice.
Yeah.
Not gone from, you've added to that being an entrepreneur in this space, which is so needing good products that really help. That are affordable, and what is next, and how are people buying it, and how are you promoting it? Like, this is so interesting to me as an entrepreneur.
Thank you for saying that, and thank you for asking. So right now it's on my website, which is thevibrantglow.com, thevibrantglow, and God willing, next week it should be on Amazon also. So
Yay.
I've hired an Amazon team, and we're working on that. It's been in the works for a long time. This has really cost me an arm and a leg and my savings, if I must say. But I took a leap of faith, and I'm going all in with this. So it's go big or go bigger. Yeah,
so excited. So we'll be able to.
I'm nervous at the same, but I'm excited.
Well, you're following your dream. You can never, and it's valuable, right? So exactly. That really matters. And so it's live. It exists. Yeah, people can order it. And when I order it, which I'm going to do as soon as I hang up our podcast, you don't have to send it to me. I want to support a fantastic woman entrepreneur.
Thank you so much.
But tell me what happens then. Like, are you fulfilling it? Is there a third party that fulfills it? How does that work?
For now, just like Amazon started in his garage, I'm doing it out of my living room and out of UPS. Yeah, so right now I'm fulfilling. Once it's live on Amazon, Amazon will be fulfilling as well. So we have all the Amazon side taken care of. And right now I fulfill packages. So I've made multiple trips to the post office and UPS to figure out which is the best. And UPS, I think, is for the win. They were quick and efficient, and I didn't have to stand there for an hour and write down the addresses. Like, are you kidding me? That's a waste of an hour and a half of my time. Let's go.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Well, feel good, because I fulfilled our first Pfizer documents book that way, and it was a bestseller. So
I love that.
It's work, but
Right.
it's
worth it.
The upside is that there's no third party between the consumer and you. So
exactly.
It's more affordable and better for you.
Right.
So exciting. Well, we've run out of time. When are you going to create a hair product?
What's that? Sorry?
Hair product next.
I'm trying to figure out what's next, because I was going to originally do a sunscreen, a scar oil, and an anti-aging, but I feel like the scar oil and the anti-aging go hand in hand, because this is what I use for both.
Mm-hmm.
I still want to do a sunscreen. I'm still trying to figure out what's next. I do want to do more body products, because we need them to be chemical free, and
You do.
so that's in the works. So more things are coming up. I'm starting with one, and my goal is to have a line.
Fantastic. Well, I know I need to let you go. I took you over time, but everybody go to thevibrantglow.com. Is that correct?
Yep, thevibrantglow.com. Mm-hmm.
And you've got to order this. I'm ordering it as soon as we hang up. And then let's circle back in a couple of months, and you'll tell us what happened next. And I'll tell you about my experience with your beautiful product. Amazing. Okay, everyone, thank you for joining us. I'm going to let Dr. Elbaz go, and then I'm going to pick up from there. So thank you, Dr. Elbaz. Take care. So exciting. All right, well, let me jump right into the second part of our podcast. Netta Slabi, our friend in Japan, has a lot of questions. I'm sorry I didn't get to them, Netta, when we had Dr. Hadar on, but she is from Israel, and she lives in Florida now. And yes, pretty much all of my pregnant friends know that vaccines are poison. Some don't, but believe me, here in New York City and Brooklyn, it's a very difficult thing to bring up. So, I have to choose my battles. There's still friendships that never recovered, because we can't talk about these issues. So, and also a lot of the young women I know who are pregnant are vaccinated already with the mRNA injection. And, how will it help them for me to say, this is going to damage your pregnancy, God forbid, it's going to make it harder for you to give birth, God forbid, raises maternal mortality and childbirth, God forbid, these are, they know where to find me, so it's a very delicate question. So I want to now talk, if I may, in the second half of our podcast, about really important news about the New York mayoral race and city council race. And I know I've been covering this on my Substack for about 3 or 4 months, and on Daily Cloud. And I'm sure a lot of my followers thought at that time, people around the world or across the United States, why are you so obsessed with this? This doesn't affect us, or kind of tuned out a little. Well, I think people have kind of become aware since the New York mayoral election on November 5th, 5 days ago, that this race is something that's going to affect the entire United States. Just like the Islamist / Marxist victories in Birmingham and other cities around Great Britain, have dramatically affected that country. And so, just to recap, Zoran Mamdani, who got millions from the Committee on American Islamic Relations, CARE, and other foreign funders. I mean, that's a domestic funder with foreign interests, but he also got $13,000 in foreign money, and he got millions from Soros funded nonprofits and donors, right? Or Soros related donors. He allegedly won with 51% of the vote. And Andrew Cuomo, horrible, evil person, grandma killer, bizarrely the candidate that the Democrats set up to run against Mamdani, he got 41, almost 42% of the vote. So there was an 8 or 9 point spread between them, allegedly. Curtis Sliwa allegedly got 8% of the vote, and then some really interesting things happened. I'll begin at the start. The headline is, it looks like there's a huge amount of election malfeasance in New York and the boroughs. And there's no proof at all that Zoran Mamdani won. That's my headline, and I'm going to stand by it. And in case you're rolling your eyes, I've been right 98% of the time for the last 5 years. I've been right 98% of the time. I was right about the lockdowns. I was right about the COVID vaccine. I was right about COVID being inflated. I was right. I was right about, Maha and MAGA joining forces to win the election. I've been nothing but right. So it's not that I'm a genius. It's that not that many people have been a political consultant to 2 presidential campaigns and a journalist and a tech CEO. And I have. So I see what is obviously being put together from the political space and the media space and even the tech space. So now let me tell you the story. I was at the watch party with Athena Clark, who was the candidate in Brooklyn's District 46 that we at Daily Clout were helping with social media. And we were watching Fox 5 at about 8 o'clock. It was streaming the results. And my question is, where did they get those results, right? From the Board of Elections? Like where are the results coming from to the media? Nobody really answers that. And there's no source listed on the news segment. But anyway, they were reporting the districts coming in. There are several dozen districts in New York for city council. And you've got to understand, city council is like Congress is to the president, the mayor, right? That's the relationship. The mayor can't enact his or her agenda without a compliant city council, just like a president has limited power if he doesn't have Congress with him or she. So at about 8 p.m., a lot of the races were neck and neck or very close. At about 8 p.m., there was a dramatic shift, and it went 85%, 85%, 85%, 85% in like 8 races, Democrat to Republican, or whatever the challenger was. And then the numbers didn't change, and they didn't change till midnight. They didn't change. I watched Athena Clark's race. She'd been very close with her opponent, Mercedes Narcisse, a Democratic kind of machine candidate who had done nothing for District 46 except make jaywalking legal, and handed over the infrastructure to Airbnb and Uber. Airbnb and Uber gave millions to the city council races. No one liked her. Her constituents complained that they never saw her. They didn't get their calls returned. It was like it's Potemkin democracy. And Athena was out meeting people every single day, huge social media presence. And she's an incredibly inspiring young woman, a mom, a wife of a firefighter, a 30-something-year-old special ed teacher in the public school system who'd been mandated because she wouldn't take the vaccine. And instead of just giving up, she was running for city council to bring justice for the first responders and teachers who still don't have their jobs back, as well as to make District 46 safer, more prosperous, more transparently governed, parents having more say in their kids' education, knowing what's going on in the schools, able to say no to things like transitioning without their knowledge, parents' knowledge. She was an incredible candidate. So it seemed weird that the numbers all froze at 8 p.m. on election night. The other thing that's weird is none of the candidates she knows, and we know about 5 Republican candidates for city council or other roles in Brooklyn, none of them were notified officially that they won or lost. They got no notification at all. Other anomalies. A friend of hers told Athena that when he tried to vote for her, her name wasn't on the ballot. Another anomaly. well, let me just say that there were other anomalies of that kind. So I, for my part, was very concerned because I saw that, the numbers just didn't make sense to me. The Working Families Party gets like 1% of the vote, a fraction of the vote, and suddenly they've got 8% of the vote. And it just seemed very odd to me as a political consultant, used to looking at numbers like that the exact margin of Mamdani's victory was the 8% that was represented by the Working Families vote. So that just seemed like anomalous. So I wanted to check the ballots and find out what really happened, verify. I'm a veteran of Gore 2000. I was an advisor to the Gore campaign during Gore 2000. I was a formal paid advisor. So I was like present by, remotely, because I was pregnant in New York, but they were in Florida. But I was, in the fray when the anomalies appeared with the hanging chads and the ballots that were unclear. Remember that? And the Republicans came in much more aggressively than they're doing now and made a big deal about the ballots that couldn't really be read clearly. And then suddenly there were lawyers on both sides, filing stays and fighting it back and forth, all the way up to the Supreme Court. And it took 5 weeks before we knew who was president. It took a Supreme Court decision. So people have forgotten that. I haven't forgotten. Now, in the ensuing 25 years, there's been lots of propaganda aimed at trying to make people who want to check the ballots into crazy people. Election deniers. The Democrats even tried to criminalize this, when President Trump tried to check the ballots. And, they went after Mike Lindell, they went after Tina Peters. Checking the ballots has been really turned into a criminal offense in a lot of ways, but also it's just been effectively targeted with propaganda. So it sounds like you're going down a rabbit hole. Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Al Gore wasn't a conspiracy theorist. George Bush wasn't a conspiracy theorist. They were doing what our system calls for. Every election has election laws and a process that is supposed to be followed by law if there's any question at all about the vote, or just in my state, if you just want to recount and you're a voter. That's what the law calls for. So I checked New York state law. And my intuition was that there's something about the fact that Mamdani's name appears twice on the ballot, whereas Athena Clark's name appears only once. They fought hard, the Democrats fought hard legally to keep her from being appearing twice on the ballot. So to me, that just rang a bit of an alarm bell. And we do legally have a system where Curtis Sliwa appeared twice on the ballot, Governor Cuomo appeared twice on the ballot, but it was such a confusing ballot that if you wanted to vote for Mamdani, for instance, the instruction was choose one. It didn't say choose one box. It didn't say choose one candidate. So it would be natural for many people, I'm guessing, to interpret that as choose one candidate and to mark it twice. I don't know, but it was that confusing a ballot. So I just want to check, and I want to know how many votes my candidate got for city council. It is impossible for me to believe that she only got 27% of the vote. And her opponent, who no one knows or likes, and who passed like 4 bills, random bills, like making sure, police officers handle autistic teenagers in a certain way, things that no one's calling for, like strangely random bills. The jaywalking bill. I could not believe that those were the numbers. But you know what? Even if they were the numbers, it's my job to verify as a citizen, as a member of New York State. So I checked New York election law, and sure enough, New York election law provides for any voter to initiate a 3% paper ballot hand count. And if those 3% of the ballots do not tally with the electronic results, there has to be a full investigation and a full audit. So, okay, this is good law, that's as it should be. So I decided to file my request for, I'm just looking up the law, but I'll post it in the stream. It's like state law 106, bear with me. Brian sent it to me when I was heading to the Board of Ed. So I went to the executive offices of the Board of Ed. Here it is, New York State Open Legislation. I'm going to hold it up and show it to you so you know I'm not making this up. There's the New York State law. It's the laws of New York, and it's a 2024 publication of the law, and it's section 106, 104, and chapter 17, election, article 16, judicial proceedings. So it says exactly what you do when you want a recount. There it is. Okay. So I went by Uber to the Board of Elections, which is in downtown Manhattan. I got there a little earlier than Athena Clark. And then something really surreal happened. I was recording and I was met by someone named Pete Homburg, who is the manager of the Board of Elections. It's a big job. He's not listed on the website that I saw, but very big job. And he started shouting at me when I said I wanted to initiate the 3% hand count. And he said, started yelling at me when I identified myself as a journalist. And I said, I'm a journalist, but I'm also a voter in New York State. And, I'm both. I'm a journalist and a voter. And then he kept yelling at me, and everyone didn't help me or allow me or tell me the process of initiating a hand count. And then when he wasn't yelling at me, and there were cameras overhead. When he wasn't yelling performatively at me, he said quietly, "Are you the Naomi Wolf?" And then he said, "I really admire your work." And then he'd keep yelling at me. So, it was clear that the cameras were kind of surveilling the workers, and they were performatively not helping me, right, or creating a barrier. He wouldn't bring a press officer to speak to me, even though he said he would. He didn't. And he wouldn't help me file the 3% or tell me how to do it. Hand count process. So then he went away and he said, "You have to bring your candidate." And I said, "She's on her way." So Athena showed up. Then he came out and told Athena Clark, he had told me that he has her whole file, her petitions, everything, that he has custody of it. I'm like, great. She requested her file. He said no, he wouldn't give it to her. He didn't give it to her. I don't have his exact words with me. But the bottom line was no. And he gave her a form to fill out to request one by one the records in her file, which probably has hundreds, if not thousands of records, and is digital. So he withheld, and it belongs to her by law. And what you've got to understand is all documents created by our government belong to the people by law. Every document in that office belongs to me by law. I don't need to be the candidate. She has to be the candidate to get her file, but they belong to her. And the documents related to the election that I have a right to as a voter belong to me. But no, the Board of Elections was not seeing it that way, even though it's illegal to withhold them. So then the lawyer for the Board of Elections came out, Eric Butkowitz, and I asked him, and he claimed that an audit was underway. They both confirmed that the numbers that are on the website are unofficial. They're unofficial numbers. So we don't know who won. We still don't officially know who won the mayoral race in New York or the city council races. And again, the city council race numbers aren't even up on the website, right? But all of these numbers are not official. And I asked Mr. Homburg when they become official, and he said early December. So they're taking a month, nearly a month, with electronic voting to do something. What are they doing? We don't know, but the numbers are unofficial. So I just want to really shame the legacy media right now, all the news outlets that announce that Zoran Mamdani won. They're lying. He didn't win yet because there is not a declaration of the winner from the Board of Elections. The numbers are unofficial. He hasn't won yet. Maybe he won, but we won't know that officially till December. The city council races, we don't know anything. Athena says to this day, the 4 or 5 city council candidates she knows and other roles that our candidates' friends were running for, they haven't been told anything about their election. So there are no formal results. So shame on the media for announcing that Mamdani won or that any of the city council members won. We don't know. Okay. And we certainly don't know because they're not accepting my challenge, to hand count 3% of the paper ballots. Now, the lawyer Butkowitz stated to me that there is an audit underway, which is standard. And I said, and he also said to Athena, belatedly, do you want to sit in on the audit of your district? And this turns out to be another illegality. They were supposed to have notified her in advance of when her district was going to be audited so she could observe it. They didn't. So he was obviously seemed to be, I don't want to get sued, backpedaling in order to be in compliance with it seems like they had no intention of notifying her when the audit of her district was going to be. So that's a failure on their part. And then lastly, I asked Butkowitz, is the audit a hand count of 3% of the ballot as provided by law? And he said, I am sure that the Board of Elections is following New York state law. And I said, are they counting paper ballots and comparing them to the electronic result? Or are they comparing electronic to electronic, which means nothing? Those of you who know my work know that I've explained why electronic voting machines can be programmed to scan anything, whether they're connected, doesn't matter if they're connected to the internet or not. The code can scan anything, any way at all. And I'll explain that to you in more detail if you need me to, but it's in an essay I wrote on Substack. Bottom line, each of those machines has code that tells it how to count. If it's told to count every Mamdani vote, it's going to count every Mamdani vote. And if it's told to count only one Cuomo vote per ballot, it'll count only one Cuomo vote per ballot. That's why I'm interested in what the code says, because that margin of victory is exactly the working family's margin of victory. And he kept saying maybe 11 or 12 times, I'm sure that the New York Board of Elections is following the law. So he refused to confirm that they're counting paper ballots. And I gave him every opportunity. And I said, for the record, are you not willing to confirm that they're counting paper ballots as required by law? He refused to confirm that they were counting paper ballots. So that's where things stand. I have been contacted by some really wonderful election integrity activists because I've been on social media saying, I need a lawyer, I need a lawyer, I need lawyers. That's what we did in 2020. We had lawyers stop everything till we could properly count every single vote and take it all the way up to the Supreme Court. And I need a lawyer. I need an electoral integrity activist contacted me to their credit and explained that I need a New York State-based lawyer to write a letter to the Secretary of State in New York and CC the Attorney General and say, the Board of Elections is not following New York state law and provide the evidence. So the last thing I'll say is that when I was first talking to Mr. Homburg, my phone was out and I said I was recording and he said, I refuse to allow you to record me. Or he said, I don't want to be recorded. I'm paraphrasing. And I said, okay, because I thought I'll get nowhere unless I put away my device. And I stopped the recording and I put it in my purse. However, I am not very technically adept and I didn't stop it properly. And I wasn't trying to be sneaky. It just didn't stop recording. So now I have a 38-minute recording of this entire exchange, which I will post. New York is a one-party state. There's nothing illegal about me having recorded that entire exchange. There was no expectation of privacy. It was a public place. It was a New York government agency, not even in the offices, but in the waiting area. There's nothing private about it. No signs said recording was unlawful. And it was perfectly legal for me to record it. So even though I, feel kind of bad that I said I stopped recording and I kept recording, I do feel like this is document of very, major public interest, and it's perfectly legal to have it. So I am going to post it. I think it's important evidence that there's horrible problems with the vote. So people are already appalled at what Mamdani is announcing. He's already backtracking on his free buses claim because Governor Hochul said she won't have it. Now he's backtracking on his $30 an hour minimum wage promise. It's all falling apart. He's visibly, going to, in Puerto Rico, to the one, Muslim place of worship, mosque in Puerto Rico, which said October 7th was a good idea. All of his symbolism is aimed at, honestly, Islamist extremists and terrorists, right? It's the third or fourth time he's hung out with someone who said America deserved 9/11, October 7th, they had it coming. Horrific. But he's not our mayor yet, guys. He's not our mayor yet. And we don't know who won city council. And these are very important seats. We don't know who won anything. So I need a lawyer. I wrote to my friends, the friends I have in the Trump administration or close to the Trump administration. I think that a great deal will emerge of national importance in discovery if you can take my evidence and get the votes, get the ballots, look at them, map the signatures. But I need help. I need help, you guys. I'm not a lawyer. I need a New York State lawyer, especially a retired New York State lawyer, because they won't be afraid of, retribution, or a Republican New York State lawyer from upstate. Come on, guys. I really need your help. So that's the story, but I hope that this video goes far and wide. We don't know who won the New York mayoral election. I have multiple instances of malfeasance and abuse and illegality, and I'm being blocked from my right as a New York State resident from having a 3% recount of the paper ballots. As a journalist, I'll just close by saying, when there's this kind of resistance and you have, elected officials yelling at you and sending out the lawyer, there's a story there. Like, I will literally bet, and I haven't been wrong yet, you guys. I literally haven't been wrong yet in 5 years. There is a story there, and I want to know I want to see the paper ballots. I want to know what happened to those double votes. Were they all spoiled, which is what's supposed to happen? Were they spoiled equally? Why was it so important to have Mamdani on twice and not let Athena Clark on at all, unless the double voting was useful? How did the machine scan the ballots, right? It's all the code. One last thing that's really going to break your heart. ES&S is the manufacturer of the voting machines in New York City, which were replaced. The mechanical machines, which were in use since 1962, you punch a card, it's physical, it's visible, it's countable and verifiable. Those were gotten rid of in 2010 due to an Obama era Help America Vote Act, which cleared out all the physical machines and replaced them with electronic machines. So ES&S are our electronic machines. Their components are made in China and Russia. Their components are made in China and Russia. So anything could be being done with our vote in New York City. I don't believe that a 34-year-old Marxist who's never run anything got 51% of the vote in New York City. Foreigners voting now or no foreigners. I don't believe that he got that fair and square. I don't believe that if Athena Clark won or lost fair and square, why won't they show us her paper ballots or her 3% of paper ballots. If there's no story here, why are they blocking, me looking at the 3% of paper ballots that the law says I can look at? So help me out, you guys. Share this with a New York State lawyer, please, or share it with your friends in the Trump administration. I really need help. You need help. It's not just going to affect New York. If there's a jihadi Marxist running Manhattan, it's a huge national security issue. It's a huge national security issue, and it's a game plan for similar takeovers in blue cities across America. So that's my update for you all. And let me now thank our sponsors, very important. Do you recognize the 7 warning signs of potential dollar collapse? We're in such a chaotic time right now economically. The stock market is losing value, the dollar is losing value. And according to American Alternative Assets, our wonderful gold and precious metals sponsor, the things that indicate a collapse, same conditions that were there in 1929, similar to 2008, are blinking red. So you really you want to know what those 7 warning signs are. I had an interview with the founder of American Alternative Assets, and there are things like, extreme personal debt that's only going to get worse, and inflation, and national debt. So it's very scary, and we all have limited savings in retirement, if we're lucky enough to have any savings or retirement funds. So it's very important, to diversify. Everything can be wiped out, especially with communists in charge. They're seizing claims to land in Australia and in Canada. I mean, this is such a rollout of anti-capitalist centralization of property and assets. And you saw what happened to the truckers in Canada. You can just have your, your liquid assets, your digital assets switched off. They're doing that to people who are Israeli in Spain. They can't access their bank accounts. So it's so important to diversify. And it's so important to diversify into heavy metals. If you had invested in gold, Brian and I talk about this a lot, 5 years ago, you would have more than doubled your investment. So the people at American Alternative Assets can help you create an IRA that is gold-based or silver-based. And people are advising me that it's very important to get into silver, in a kind of apocalypse situation, because it's smaller denominations and you can transact with it. But either way, please secure your savings. Brian and I are securing part of our savings. I'm self-employed, so I really depend on my own kind of resources for retirement. And we're so happy to have such a credible, responsible, well-reviewed gold and silver sponsor, such as American Alternative Assets, to refer our audience to. We never take sponsors who are selling anything we don't use and benefit from ourselves. And so American Alternative Assets is definitely something we're proud to invest in ourselves and to tell other people about. And so you want to go to cloutgold.com, cloutgold.com, and get your free report and get started protecting some or all of your assets. I would say diversify. The other thing is you really want to know about, I'm so sorry. I just kind of got overwhelmed by the sadness of it all, thinking about my beautiful city. But you really want to know about Kimchi One. This is also a new sponsor with a fantastic product. Apparently, kimchi is one of the only things you can put into your system that absorbs microplastics. And we have up to a teaspoon of plastic accumulating in our body from all the microplastics around us, including in our brains. But kimchi is kind of hard to eat in large amounts, at least for me. So I'm really happy to have Kimchi One It's made by Brightcore, and you just want to go to brightcore.com, and the promo code is WOLF, and you'll get a free gift, a really wonderful supplement in addition to the kimchi. But I really recommend this supplement. You take 3 capsules every day, and it's got dried kimchi, but it's also got other really good anti-inflammatory herbs, easy to take, doesn't taste gross, and it's highly anti-inflammatory. And again, it is the one kind of probiotic substance that can absorb and help you excrete microplastics, according to peer-reviewed studies that are cited by the founder of Brightcore. So again, go to brightcore.com and use the promo code WOLF and order that kimchi one. Really, it's so funny. I was at a dinner, and an allopathic medicine specialist who was pushing Ozempic and other substances was making fun of supplements. And, and I said, well, I'm going to be 64 next week, and I take a lot of supplements. And he was kind of taken aback. He said, well, think about how good you'd look if you didn't take any supplements and you took Ozempic instead. So bottom line is, you will feel better, and you'll look better, and you'll move better, and you'll glow. I'm so glad I'm not taking Ozempic. It's not FDA approved for weight loss, and has horrific side effects. But what you should know is that when you take very tested supplements like kimchi, like turmeric, like the ingredients in kimchi one, you're taking into your body substances that populations have known about for millennia as being beneficial, and they don't have the side effects that big pharma has, as you just heard from Dr. Hadar when she was talking about skin and hair care products. And Citizen 77 says, I like kimchi. Well, you're lucky. I confess I don't like kimchi, so I like taking the supplement. And it's hard to eat kimchi every day, even if you like it. And Netislabi says the FDA is corrupt. Very true. And so that's it. We're going to stop there. Thank you. And remember, I can't do this, especially now. I'm going to have huge lawyers' fees. I need you, please, to help me. Go to Substack, go to Outspoken, become a paid subscriber. If you can't afford to become a paid subscriber, it's $7 a month. Become a free subscriber. But our paid subscribers really keep our doors open. And go over to Daily Clout and donate or subscribe there. You get free newsletters about really important bills. And you should go over to billcam.com and legisector.com. On billcam.com, you can see and share any state or federal bill, and you can stop bad bills and promote good bills. It's fantastic. You can share bills through social media. You can tweet the bill sponsor. You can see what's happening, what's coming down the pike. And with legisector.com, it's industry-specific legislation. So with a subscription for that, which is only $11.99 a month, compared to LexisNexis, which is like thousands a year, which does roughly the same thing, you can follow any one of 27 industries and get a dedicated portal for your industry, whether it's finance or infrastructure or cannabis, or if you're an advocate and you're in healthcare or family law, any one of 27 specialties. You'll never be behind news events. You'll always be ahead of news events. You can invest ahead of your peers. It's an incredible tool. Go to legisector.com. Thank you all, and I'll actually see you at 6 because I'm doing a reading of the Geneva Bible, Numbers 11. Take care. Thank you. Share this with lawyers, everyone.